Live from the ABC 27 Digital Now Center, this is ABC 27 News Plus.
Is Captain James Katita. He's the director of the Special Investigation Division within our Bureau of Criminal Investigation. Lieutenant Nate Trait, he's the assistant director of the Municipal Police Officers Education and Training Commission. Corporal Pete Moan, he's a criminal investigation unit supervisor at the Troop L Jonestown Station. Trooper Ian Keck, he's an investigator with the Criminal Investigation Assessment Unit here in Troop L, and he is more recently the lead investigator on this case. Trooper Jeff Bainey, he's the investigator with the Criminal Investigation Assessment Unit with our Bureau of Criminal Investigation. Trooper Ethan Brownback, he's the Troop L Public Information Officer. Lebanon County Assistant District Attorney Brian Deerdick, and the Lebanon County Deputy Coroner Victoria Beck. We're here today to announce the positive identification of a female who was found deceased in 1973 here in Lebanon County. Up until October of this year, the female was only known to us as Jane Doe. We'd like to take this opportunity to provide a general overview of the work that has been done in this case. After my overview, we will take a couple questions, open it up to the floor, but please keep in mind that this is an active and ongoing investigation, so some details might not be able to be divulged at this time. The investigation began on October 10th, 1973, when two Lebanon County game wardens discovered the deceased body of a young female in a wooded area off of Moonshine Road near Ridge and Tomstown Road, Union Township, Lebanon County, Pennsylvania. The young female's remains, which were decomposed, were concealed under a plastic tarp and various brush. The deceased was described as a white female, long brown and or blonde in color hair, approximately 5'3" to 5'6" in height, and a thin to average build. The manner of her death was ruled undetermined. Over the years, investigators attempted to identify this young female through various efforts. Some of these efforts included developing two busts of what the young female could have looked like. One bust was completed through forensic analysis, and the other bust was a three-dimension representation with the help of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. In May of 2016, with the assistance of the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, the young female was exhumed from Mount Lebanon Cemetery here in Lebanon County in hopes of locating some other form of evidence that would help determine her identity. Dr. Rick Snow, a forensic anthropologist with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, assisted with carefully removing the remains of the young female from the coffin. The remains were then transported to Lehigh Valley Hospital, where they were further examined. With the assistance from Estrella Labs and the Pennsylvania State Police Bureau of Criminal Investigation, a positive identification was made in October of 2024. As a result of their efforts, this young female will no longer be known as Jane Doe. She will be known by her given name, Ruth Elizabeth Brenneman. Ruth Brenneman was a 14-year-old female from York County, Pennsylvania, which is approximately 47 miles from where she was found. Ruth was last seen in the beginning of the 1973 school year after she left for school and never returned home. Ruth Brenneman was a young female just shy of her 15th birthday and known for her long blonde hair. We continue to investigate the circumstances surrounding Ruth Brenneman's discovery. We ask anyone who knew or who has information about Ruth Brenneman to contact the Pennsylvania State Police Jonestown Station at 717-865-5067. Information can also be submitted through Pennsylvania State Police TIPS, telephone number 1-800-472-8477, or via email, psptipsemail@gmail.com. These tips can be anonymous if so desired. Now, the family of Ruth Brenneman has prepared a statement. They asked that we read it for them. So this is what they said. The family wishes to extend our gratitude to Trooper Keck and the others on the Pennsylvania State Police team who worked diligently to identify Ruthie. Their work has provided us with some closure on questions that have lingered for the past 51 years. Now, at this time, we will open up to some questions that you may have. However, like I said earlier, please keep in mind this is an ongoing and active investigation, so some details may not be able to given at this time. Yes, ma'am.
What was the key to making the connection?
Genealogy, and that was gathered as a result of the exhumation. Yes, ma'am.
Are there any persons of interest for this death of this child?
Ongoing, so I don't want to divulge too much information.
So, but do you know if it's a homicide or anything? Can we at least know that?
That's still pending through the coroner's office. Yes, ma'am.
Can you say at this point that the death is suspicious?
It was an equivocal death, meaning there was some level of suspicion to it, given the fact that, you know, she was found underneath a tarp and some brush. So, yeah.
Can you give us some idea of this, what lengths it took to connect the family members to make this match? Genealogy is a very complicated process, right?
Sure.
Did the bust lead to, did some of those earlier attempts lend some assistance in that regard?
Sure. I'll defer to the lead investigator who has been working on this case here to better answer your question a little bit.
Good afternoon, Trooper Ian Keck. To answer that question, it was a combination of things, basically, but it was good old, genealogy research, going out, interviewing family, looking through old articles, public records of articles in the newspaper, as well as court documents. Yes.
I have two questions. One, did her family refer to her as Ruthie? Because in the statement you said Ruthie.
Yes, I mean, they often called it Ruth or Ruthie. Oftentimes, speaking with the family, they would refer to her as Ruthie, yes.
And was she known to be missing? Were police aware that this 14-year-old had disappeared during the school year 1970?
Part of the investigation is that's what we're looking into. We're still trying to, obviously, we're talking 51 years later. We're still trying to look through records and determine that.
Are you able to tell us where in York County she was from, or is it York City?
In York County.
Did you say she was last seen leaving school one day? I'm sorry, can you just repeat that part?
Yeah, that's correct. She was she left home to attend school, and that was the last contact the family had.
That day in October?
That's still investigating as far as the exact day, but it was early the fall time of the beginning of that school year, 1973.
Trooper, there was about 10 years ago, there was a press conference, and some names were, well, I think it was Sergeant Trade at the time mentioned they narrowed it down to possible 3 missing runaway girls from Jonestown Home for Wayward Girls. This obviously was not one of them. So how surprising was it that Ruthie came up as a match?
I mean, through the genealogy, that we had and that we were following, obviously once you make that contact with the family, it's kind of that moment, like you realize who they were looking for the whole time. It kind of brings a surprise to the family. It's 51 years later, and they always had that unanswered question, and finally, with the investigation, we were kind of able to give that answer to them.
Did she come up, I'm sorry, did her name come up as a possible person?
That's still what we're looking into. That's still part of the investigation.
So what was taking this period of time to finally do this genealogy match? Was it because
Just overall, just the whole research of it. You know, there's a lot that goes into the genealogy aspect of a case, and, you know, between using, you know, the DNA as well as the old, you know, looking into old records and court records, and then and matching it up. And, you know, there was plenty of family that we went along to interview to kind of learn until we got to the right answers.
So overall, how long did it take to do this whole research?
I don't want to give the wrong time. Obviously, you know, that I don't have the exact time frame on that, but, you know, with something like this, it does take a period of time till we get the right answer.
Was the exhumation done so that you could obtain DNA and then begin this genetic ancestry process?
That was part of the whole, yes, that was part of the whole process. You know, at that time, genealogy was most likely in the infancy stage of that. But it was with the advancement of technology, that was our hope to kind of keep moving forward with Lieutenant Trait, you know, with his thoughts at the time. That was the whole purpose.
And what, in terms of Ruthie's family, who is left? Siblings or?
Again, I don't want to get too much into the family aspect of it, but she does still have family that are, you know, that were able to assist with this and provide us the necessary information and that we needed to positively identify her.
So, to clarify, do you know if Ruth made it to school that day, or the last time she was seen or heard from was when she left for school? And did she walk to school, or did she ride a bus?
Again, that, as far as how she got to and from school, is something that we're still looking into. And as far as whether she made it to school or not, again, that's something we're going to continue looking into. Hopefully with today, you know, people will step forward and kind of continue to provide us information. Any friends of Ruthie or associates, just kind of call in and, you know, tell us about Ruthie so we can learn more.
Okay, and you guys aren't releasing what district or school she went to?
No.
So it sounds to me like we now know who she is, but you're still seeking possible justice for Ruthie.
Absolutely. Just because we identified her today, that doesn't end our investigation. This is still an ongoing investigation. It's still active, fluent. We're going to do our best and put our best foot forward here to, you know, come to a conclusion.
Can you, at this point, reveal, or if you know anything, that is it connected to anything else, or this is just by itself on its own case?
At this point, you know, we're investigating it as its own. You know, it's part of the investigation. We will determine as we go on.
Trooper, can you just talk a little bit about a 51-year-old cold case? How do you prioritize it among all of the active cases that are being investigated? Do you revisit it on a regular basis? How do you do that?
With state police, you know, obviously with our cases, you know, we keep them active. We're always reviewing them. We're always updating the reports, reaching out to whoever we need to reach out. We're reviewing evidence, seeing if we can, you know, resubmit any evidence to the lab because of the advancement of technology and science. Any way to kind of give us a lead on any of our cases. She had a question. I'm sorry.
Okay. So, you know, obviously there's still a lot of challenges with this case. Can you just talk about the importance of knowing the victim's identity, how big of a step that is in the investigation?
It's a huge part of this investigation, as well as any investigation. You know, part of a criminal investigation is we need to know, you know, the victim, victimology. We have to know about the victim and, you know, their everyday life and, you know, who they associated with and their different activities. And that was kind of, you know, with a Jane or John Doe case, that's kind of, you know, what slows us up is because we don't know who the victim is or victim are, and therefore we can't proceed to further, you know, what could have happened until we know who they are.
I think that you've seen news before, a similar case in Brooks County that you worked on. How important is this? Am I correct that you were also involved in the case in Brooks County?
Yes.
The gentleman. That seems significant to me, that you are connectors, that you are pursuing these investigations, and it sounds like you're pretty relentless in this.
I would just put it that I'm at the right place at the right time. I wouldn't say I'm not doing anything that another trooper did or investigator. You know, it's just that I was fortunate enough to get in, you know, where I'm at this point. A lot of credit has to go to the prior investigators beforehand. You know, without their efforts moving this forward, you know, we wouldn't be able to identify individuals in this case. You know, as I said before, Lieutenant Trey put a lot of effort into it. There was previous news articles about that, as well as, you know, the other case. This is a team effort. This is not a one-man show. This is a team effort with the state police. We have a lot of departments involved, a lot of hands that are working together. I get, you know, put up here because, you know, I have the firsthand knowledge of what's actively going on now. But behind the scenes, there are a lot of people involved. So it's not all me. There's a lot of people involved.
You guys said was, she went missing was around just shy of her 15th birthday. Can you tell us her actual, like, her birthday?
Ruth was born November 26, 1958.
Can you address the concerns about a 51-year-old cold case? Are you guys worried that you might be missing evidence or missing suspects, given how long it's been taken to identify the victim?
Sure. I mean, any case that, you know, goes on from time, you know, you wonder, you know, what evidence is not available any longer. You wonder any witnesses, you know, with time, you know, are they still here with us? So yes, I mean, that's always a downfall as far as a time frame, but again, we're not giving up.
Doesn't it seem a little incredible that, you know, investigative powers, that a young girl goes missing in 1973, and a young girl's body was found a couple counties over, that it wasn't matched up earlier, that an investigation wasn't done into missing individuals of that type at the time?
I mean, they're always compared. You know, they're looking at, you know, the information that we have then. We also look at, you know, anyone that has been reported missing. We try to, you know, based off what we had then, compared to what, you know, that information on that case, you know, involved in. So they are compared.
Records have shown that a missing girl and a young girl shows up dead, you know, 50 miles away, that might have been an investigative thread in 1973 instead of 2024.
I'm not sure, yeah.
I mean, keep in mind, we're 1973. We didn't have the internet back then, so you can't do a quick Google search to see who's missing in the state. So, you know, we were limited by technology back then. So just in terms of just, you know, a list of missing people readily available at our hands, you know, back then, obviously I wasn't alive back then, but it's not as easy as it is, I use that term loosely, easy to search as it is today, as it was back then.
Actually, was she entered in NamUs or anything like that, or NCIC to match?
She entered into NamUs.
Yeah, she was entered into NamUs. She is listed under there. So all that information goes out, you know, and kind of going back to your question, you know, we do put this information out about missing or unidentified cases out to, you know, other police departments, you know, and we're only as good as what's reported back to us. You know, we're only as good as the information we're only good as, you know, the information that's coming into us. So, you know, a lot of this is, you know, the help of the public. A lot of it's what they're providing us. You know, sometimes it's useful information, sometimes it may not be, but that's for us to decide.
Are you able to share with us if her family, Ruth's family in York, ever declared her dead?
That I don't believe so. That I don't have firsthand knowledge of. There's no records that I can say that she was declared deceased.
Forgive me if you said this already, but did you guys have, or whoever discovered the remains back then, have an idea of how long they were there?
It was estimated, but I mean, it all depends on the weather, multiple factors regarding how long she was there. Just based off, you know, when the family last had contact with her until she was discovered. It was obviously, you know, not a very long time. it could, you know, a couple months. All right. But one more.
Sorry, can you reflect, I mean, this is, I'm a mom, can you reflect, this is a 14-year-old girl found and unknown for decades. From like a feeling standpoint, can you comment on how it feels to be part of this process of finding her identity and seeking justice?
From my standpoint, it could be, it's a lot of emotions, you know, it's definitely a lot of emotions, more, you know, obviously you have that feeling of, you know, that you're able to help a family identify, you know, their loved one that they've been missing for several years. But on the other hand of it is, I know there's another part of this investigation and it's not over yet, so we need to keep going. You know, this is just one, I guess, you know, hump that we got over. We were able to identify her. Now we're moving on, you know. So you know, I'm glad we're able to do this and use today's technology, and you know, hopefully people, you know, if you have a missing one, to kind of, you know, consider, you know, the resources that are out there, the technology that we can use to, you know, identify Jane and John Doe's. But thank you. If you want to.
Yeah. Thank you for your time, ladies and gentlemen. As more developments come out, you know, we'll be sure to keep you guys updated. So, thanks for coming out. I believe one was already sent out.
Oh, I mean, regarding the conclusion of what you have today, not the one that there's gonna be a rest of.
We can update it with